Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to acknowledge Jano Libro, the Chair and CEO of the MTA. Jano, get a nice spot, find the X. Jano Libro has found his spot. He's also found his spot as a tremendous leader of the MTA. Also, we're joined by Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney. Thank you for being such a champion of these projects. Kathy Rinaldi, the President Metro North and Interim President LIRR, she is here. Councilmember Keith Powers, and of course Anthony Simon, the General Chairman of our union that is doing all the work right now. You may hear a train come through. That is Anthony's members training on this to make sure that we are prepared for the future, and the future is exciting. This is a great day. I know we've been real with a lot of horrific news coming out of places like Buffalo, my hometown, and the slaughter of children in Texas. And so sometimes it's just hard to think about how you shift from the pain of those stories to different issues, but it shows the resiliency of our country and our state as we continue to mourn those and find laws to protect against future assaults as we're working on right now in our capital, but also to know that we must carry on. And this project is something that New Yorkers have been talking about for 2.5 decades. And they've talked about this Long Island Railroad extension to the east side of Manhattan. They call it the East Side Access for a long time. And people's like, what is the East Side Access? What do we talk about? Access to what? What part of the East Side? So one of the first things I want to talk about is just the name. Let's freshen up the whole experience. Let people have a different name that actually means something to them. So my first announcement today is that this transit hub, which will soon be one of the largest transit hubs in America when it's completed, deserves something better, something a little more distinguished. So I'm proud to announce that this new LIRR terminal will be called Grand Central Madison. That is what we're unveiling here today, our new logo. And you can see a lot of thought went into the naming process. Grand Central, Madison, okay, put the two together. Don't have to overcomplicate these things sometimes, but it is impactful and it's very descriptive of what's going on here. But when you're talking about a place as iconic as Grand Central, you can't change that. I mean, this conjures up the images of glory in a time, early 1900s, 1911, 1912, when the world was stunned by the majesty of this building itself and how it has expanded and morphed into such a critical lifeline for this community and connecting the far reaches of places like Long Island to this central core. But this has gone on such a long time. They're talking about it in 1998, pre-planning 2001. It sort of started. Tunneling began, the construction of tunneling started in 2007. For 24 years now, we've been hearing about this project. And everyone always just thought, so it'll get done someday in the future, the future, the future. The future is 2022. This will be accomplished, completed in its entirety. No more dragging heels, no more putting it off, no more delays, because people have been waiting a long time to have a world-class experience when they board the trains, they're home on Long Island. When they come to the city, they have long deserved a world-class experience, and they will get that by the end of this year. By the end of this year, that is our commitment. And Jano knows from our many meetings together, I always say, let's talk about the projects, let's talk about the current status, show me the trajectory of where we're going, literally month by month. And then how can we shave off some of those months? How can we do it sooner? And Jano always finds a way. Keeping these projects on time is important, especially when there's already been a 24-year history. But now let's just get it done. Let's declare this is the year we finally accomplish this extraordinary transformation. What'll now be the Grand Central Madison Concourse. And it's not just going to be a place you're going to walk through. You're going to have incredible retail experiences and food and a bar, so you can have that cocktail as you're ready to go. You can have drinks to go now, thanks to legislature and what we did. But you think about how necessary this was. When the LIRR was built, there were 37,000 people living on Long Island. I mean, that's one of the smaller towns today. And today the number is 2.8 million. So the connection of all 11 lines to Grand Central was so desperately needed. And when it's done, it's going to make a difference in people's lives. I've talked about infrastructure since my first budget was unveiled back in January. And I don't talk about infrastructure in those cold, sterile terms. Engineers like to talk about it that way. I talk about it differently. I like to talk about it about connecting people to places, to their jobs, to their recreation, and ultimately to their families. And if we have the opportunity, as I spoke about on October 31st when I took the inaugural maiden ride here, I talked about the experience of giving people something precious back in their lives. What is the best thing we can give people? And for many families, it's their time. If we can shave 40 minutes off their travel time every day, that's more time to get ready in the morning, make sure the kids' backpacks are packed, they didn't forget their lunch. Maybe at the end of the day, make sure you don't miss a sporting event, maybe a little time for yourself for exercise. You can do whatever you want with it, but our job is to give that to you by making transformational infrastructure improvements. So half of Long Island commuters are expected to go through this terminal. We look forward to welcoming them with a world-class experience. It'll also create a faster connection to JFK Airport. And this is such a huge win. It'll be the largest terminal, rail terminal built in the country since 1950. We're showing what New Yorkers do, even during a global pandemic, and we are hit the hardest. This is what this incredible team behind me accomplished, because they would not let go of the objective of offering this experience and giving people their time back and continue to invest and making sure that the jobs are continuing to grow. We didn't stop at all. And as a result, we're on the cusp of almost done. So this is the largest LIRR expansion in 112 years since the original Penn Station, East River Tunnels opened. And I say it's about time. So when we have a chance to come back here with the unveiling by the end of the year, maybe we can shorten a little bit of time there too. It'll just be incredible. So it's not just about the current experience, it's also about expanding. We anticipate this is going to lead to an expansion of service up to 40%. Yes, that's what happens. That's what you're required to do when your population grows. Infrastructure laid behind too long, we are remedying the wrongs of the past. And so we'll have a 40% increase. Morning rush trains will increase to 158 trains from 113. Afternoon and evening trains will increase to 158 from 98. Trains will run every 30 minutes to Huntington and Ronkonkoma, every 15 minutes to Mineola and Hicksville. And the West Hempstead branch will gain through train service around the clock. So these new schedules will reduce the large gaps in service, especially some of the busy areas like Ronkonkoma and Port Jefferson. So that's progress. That's what New Yorkers have been waiting for, and that's what New Yorkers are just about to receive when we finally finish this project, now under the new banner of Grand Central Madison. So we are providing services, experience, and a world-class experience that has been long overdue in giving people back the gift of time. So I want to thank Jana Lieber and all the members of the team, the construction teams, the people wearing hard hats, not just on today, but every day they're getting up there and doing such hard work, and I have such admiration for them and the people that Anthony Simon represents as well. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jana Lieber to give more details, but this is an exciting day. It is a significant milestone, and I cannot wait to take the first official ride as we welcome it before the end of this year in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I don't know that the details that you provided are the ones that matter to Long Islanders, to go from 113 trains in the morning to 158, and an even bigger increase proportionally in the evening. That's what this project is about. It's about more service. It's about more options. It's about better connections, something that the governor has been talking to me about since we got to know each other really 9 months ago now. More time, you always talk about that, Governor, more time for people in their busy lives. And this project is going to deliver all of those things. Okay. Now, what I have to say, in addition to what the governor says, is I want to acknowledge, in addition to those that the governor mentioned, our great elected officials, two guys who are responsible for this project, and MTA Construction Development President Jamie Torres Springer and Rob Troop. Where's Rob? Rob is the construction executive and the man who is driving this project with so many people. Big shout out to the unionized building trades, Governor. They have been heroic. You talk about getting the work, making the work continuous during the COVID pandemic. It was only because every day, men and women, hundreds and hundreds of them, showed up for work, rain or shine, but in the pandemic, that meant under more challenging circumstances. So unionized building trades, under Gary LaBarbera, huge thank you. Maintaining this schedule has not been easy. When I came in at the end of, in 2018, and did a review of this project, many people said to me, it's got all these problems, it's going to be delayed, kick the can down the road another couple of years, and I said no. We're sticking with 2022. That was the first time in any review of this project in its long history that the schedule had been handed to. So we made that commitment, and we're still committed to that. The last 4 years have been a whirlwind of work to fill that date. We had to overcome so many project management complexities. I'm not going to recap it, but this project was kind of a mess. We really changed the model of how you manage this project to make sure, among other things, we took a schedule. This is a little technical, but it's hugely important. We had a schedule of activities of about 5,000 activities, and we turned that into a schedule of 85,000 activities. So you could track every single activity, make sure you kept the schedule and nothing slipped. As we come down the home stretch, we're ready to talk about the finer points. The governor made the point about the growth in service, but I want to take a moment to celebrate the fact that it's not only good news for customers, all of those customers who want to come to the East Midtown. East Midtown, no secret, is the center of the knowledge economy with the highest paying jobs in the United States, maybe in the world. And we have a lot of Long Islanders who want to come, whose jobs are here, or who want to work in these skyscrapers and these great jobs right around it. They now have much better access to that. But this project also will help us to push forward the governor's other major initiative, which is to fix Penn Station. Because when roughly half of the Long Island Railroad customers move over to the more convenient terminal at Grand Central Madison, saving them time and improving their lives, it means that we will have the room and the space to make the improvements to Penn Station that the governor has envisioned and set us on a course for. So stay tuned, but there is a close relationship between the opening of this new amazing facility and this new service and the improvement of Penn, which the governor has done so much to highlight. These are really two huge projects, both Grand Central and Penn, that are about changing the fundamentals of transportation in New York. Let's take a deep breath and just realize these are our two major terminals, the two busiest railroad terminals in the United States by a lot. Those two facilities, that's transformation. But what's also transformation is having one amazing leader running these two railroads at once, and it happens to be my partner, Kathy Rinaldi. Kathy? Always off my mark.
Thank you very much, Jano. We're so excited that this week we will be putting out the proposed new timetable showing Long Island Railroad service after the opening of Grand Central Madison Terminal this fall. This is the first time in more than 30 years that the Long Island Railroad has taken a completely fresh look at its schedules, and it's going to be a major improvement. The new timetables, as the governor indicated, will propose to increase the overall number of Long Island Railroad trains by 40%. The number of morning rush hour trains would increase slightly by slightly more than 40%, and the number of afternoon evening rush hour trains would increase by nearly 65%. You hear that? Those are trains. Can you hear that noise in the background? Those are the test trains that are running in and out for employees to be ready to run the service later this year. Reverse peak service is also going to dramatically improve thanks to the combined benefits of this new terminal and the completion of the third track project. Additionally, the timetables will improve the spacing of trains on many branches, reducing large gaps in service, which is all great news for our customers. We want to hear your thoughts on these schedules. As the governor said, we'll be holding a series of public information sessions later this summer to gather rider input so that we can incorporate that feedback into the final version of the schedules, which we plan to share this fall. This is an exciting, exciting moment for public transportation in New York. Grand Central Madison service is going to connect the two busiest railroads in North America, Metro North and Long Island Railroad, linking Poughkeepsie, New Haven, Montauk, and everywhere in between. If you're coming from the northern suburbs and want to get to JFK Airport, that journey is now going to be a lot easier. Long Island Yankees fans are going to have another convenient option for travel to the game, and the list goes on. Plenty of opportunities for regional connectivity, a very, very exciting development for the region. And we all know that offering more service to more places is going to result in new customers for both railroads. It's already been happening since the expansion of the city ticket for intercity travel. We've seen outstanding take-up for those tickets in Queens and the Bronx, which has helped ridership on both railroads soar to new heights over the last month to levels not seen since March 2020. Before I hand over to the Congresswoman, I want to acknowledge the employees here. We've got employees from both railroads here. Employees from Long Island, they're excited to be starting the service in the fall, and employees from Metro North, stations employees who are going to be working very closely with the employees of Long Island to give an excellent customer experience to customers of both railroads. And with that, let's keep the momentum going, and I'd like to introduce the Congresswoman.
Thank you. I am honored to be here at this very, very important announcement. I want to thank first our governor for her determined leadership and support for transit and infrastructure projects. It doesn't happen without dogged determination and being right on top of the project. And I also want to thank the MTA leader, Janno Lieber, who is so gung-ho for transportation. Believe me, he's for the project even before you tell him what the project is. And you saw today that his determination that we would not fall behind, that we were going to open in 2020. I first started working on this project in 1995 when Senator D'Amato came to see me one day. Believe me, the senators never come to the House. So I knew it was important. And he came in and he said, I need a Democratic partner. The LIRR is overcrowded. The city needs to expand. We need more trains. It's a necessity. Will you work with me to put together the Democratic side of the funding? Make it a priority and pledge to work on it every day. And I said, yes, I will, on one condition. I said, will you help me with my glimmer of hope, which is the 2nd Avenue subway, and become the Republican partner on that important construction project? And he said yes. And so we worked together for years, putting the pieces together, the federal funding. And we got the federal funding before we got the state funding. We didn't have a governor like Hochul who's putting the money in. We had to put all the federal money in first. And I just want to share one statistic with you. These two projects, this one and the 2nd Avenue subway, are the two largest federally funded projects, not New York City, not New York State, but in the entire country. And they will be the only two subways that are major that have been built since I've been in office. It is a monumental achievement by our MTA, our city and state government, and I'm thrilled to have been the federal partner in working to get the federal funding. The East Side Access will transform the commute from Long Island and Queens to the east side of Manhattan for more than 160,000 people every day. Day one, 160,000 people will be on these trains, cutting people's commute and making it significantly easier to get to and from Manhattan back to Long Island and Queens. Our city and state recovering from the COVID-19 crisis. This is incredible that we were able to achieve this. I am proud to have helped secure billions of dollars in funding, but I'm even prouder of the MTA and the leadership of all of the people, the unions, the technicians, the researchers, everyone that has completed almost this landmark infrastructure project. Congratulations to New York, State, City, and the MTA.